Pelvic floor issues affect more women under 40 than over 60.
I think it's true.
1 in 3 women will experience pelvic floor dysfunction at some point in their lives.
That is true.
Only about 2% of MedTech funding globally goes to women's health.
That is true.
Across the world, many women experience pelvic health issues, especially after childbirth. Issues that for many years have been normalized, and my guest today is actually working to change this. With me, Tracy McNeal. She is the CEO of Materna Medical. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start by giving some context of what's Materna Medical doing.
So as you mentioned, one of the most common injuries that women will experience is in childbirth. And I think we think a lot about the perineal laceration, so the tearing you can see. But behind that are the pelvic floor muscles that hold our organs in place. And so a woman's lifetime risk of having surgery for that injury is 20%. So there's 1 in 5 women are having a surgery for this, and they're not really talking about it. And they're 5 times more likely to have that surgery if they've had a vaginal delivery. And so Materna Medical is working on an intervention in labor and delivery to really change the culture of how we care for women while they're giving birth to protect their pelvic floor. And so we have a single-use disposable used during labor and delivery that has been shown in our published data to reduce that injury rate very significantly.
Very interesting. So before we dive into conversations around your technology, we're gonna play a game. Okay. So we're gonna play fact or fiction. I'll give you 5 statements, and you're gonna tell me if it's fact or fiction.
Okay.
Okay. You have 30 seconds. Let's see how many
I
we
do. Okay. All right.
Perfect. Let's start. So, pelvic floor issues affect more women under 40 than over 60.
Ooh. I think it's true.
Okay. 1 in 3 women will experience pelvic floor dysfunction at some point in their lives.
That is true.
Preventive care in women's health starts before pregnancy.
I think that's where we're going. That's where I want us to go.
Only about 2% of MedTech funding globally goes to women's health.
That is true.
Women's health startups have grown faster than any other MedTech category in the past 3 years.
Ooh, I think that could be true also.
Good, good. Amazing. So let's start. What happened in, I don't know if it's a personal story or if you found the need to create Materna Medical. What happened that inspired you to tackle this issue?
Well, I can't take personal credit for it myself. I'm not the founder of Materna. I was recruited by the board to take over and bring these products to market commercially. But the origin story of the company was it came through the Stanford Biodesign program, which starts with a clinically unmet need. And our founder went through that program. He was a high potential talent in medical devices, and that team brought this set of technologies forward and got it through its early stages. And then under my tenure, I've taken it through FDA clearance and clinical studies and bringing it to market. So the reason I chose Materna is that I rarely see startups with a market this size with so little competition, and the opportunity really to create a whole new product category and change the culture in a completely different way.
Indeed. We see that the industry have been very positive around pelvic health awareness, right? So what has been changing? What happened that make us go faster on talking more about pelvic health?
I think there are 2 big changes and 1 small change. So the 2 big changes are that there are more and more women entering clinical leadership in OBGYN. So we're seeing the retirement of an older school mentality, and the younger people coming in as clinical leaders have a much more holistic perspective on things, and they're interested in new technologies and research. And then the other thing is that I think social media and the way Gen Z has entered the stage willing to talk about anything. And so you see influencers, thousands of influencers willing to get up and talk about their pelvic floor health. When I took the job 6 years ago, nobody knew where their pelvic floor was. And I think that's been the most remarkable change, and that combination has really dramatically changed the landscape. And the third smaller change is that I think more and more investors are getting it. And what I've really seen is most of the investment, so we've been very successful in raising money, and I'm so happy that we've been able to do everything we've been able to do in device. And then around us, I've seen probably an order of magnitude more investment in the way healthcare is being delivered to women. So players like MIDI Health, Maven, Hims and Hers, really dramatically changing the way women are perceiving their agency in receiving healthcare.
Yeah. This question is more oriented to women in medtech and healthcare. For CEO, founders, leaders, innovators, when they approach women health, specifically your field, pelvic health, how do you feel the industry when you actually pitch, let's say, or when you are looking to get some funds or just to kind of raise awareness on the topic? How do you see the industry welcoming it all overall?
The venture capital industry, or
Yes.
yeah. Well, I think that, so at Materna we have two purposes. One is to get these products to the patients that need them, because right now these patients have nothing. But the other purpose is to show to the industry and to the market that when we invest in women, we all win.
Yeah.
And we're looking to be one of those exits that shows a pattern that investors can begin to rely on. So we've had several good exit comps in our space over the last couple of years, very helpful for us. So investors want to see, they're pattern seekers, right?
Yes.
They want to see who's making money in this space. And back in the days of the pelvic mesh lawsuits, many of the big medical device companies very publicly exited what they called women's health, which is, my goal is someday women's health won't be a thing, it's just healthcare.
Yeah.
Right, for half the population, but right now we still associate kind of old-fashioned ideas of women's health being about pelvic health. It is one aspect of women's health, right? Cardiology is an important part of women's health. So I think that more and more those things are changing, and we're seeing more and more investors seeing those exit comps and wanting to be part of a whole new era in women's health.
And part of this kind of equality in the industry as well is data, right? So what Materna Medical is doing different when including data overall?
Yeah. So going with being able to raise significant capital has enabled us to create landmark sets of data. So for our first product, Millie, which is on the market at hellomillie.com and is referred to by hundreds of healthcare practitioners across the country, we're just publishing our first clinical study. I think to my knowledge, we're the first medical device company in the world to publish statistically significant data on the pelvic floor condition of vaginismus, which affects up to 17% of American women. And most women who have it suffer for years. And in our studies, most were able to make progress within 90 days. It's a very treatable condition. And then we've just filed our de novo with our second product to prevent pelvic floor injury during childbirth, and that was in over 700 patients in a gold standard randomized controlled trial. So I've seen brain implants go to market with less data, right? So it's been really amazing to be able to get that quality of data in 20 hospitals across the country with a very accurate cross-section of the demographics of our country, like really setting the bar high for obstetrics.
When looking into other markets, I don't know, in terms of scaling up, exploring other markets, are you interested in that? Is in the coming plans?
Of course, we want these products to be available to everybody. So we have a roadmap of all of that, but we're starting here in the United States.
Amazing.
And plenty of work to do right here at home.
Great. Thank you very much, Tracy, for,
Thank you so much for having me.
accepting the invitation. We hopefully can see you in any of our MedTech World events.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.